Good evening, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here with a quick update for Hurricane Pro and HD users. Let's take a look at what's going on with Karen this evening. Tropical storm over the Gulf of Mexico, moving towards the north-northwest at 12 miles per hour, pressure down to 999 millibars. Probably telling you stuff you already know. But let's take a look deeper into the forecast discussion. I thought this would be interesting to read and kind of explain what some of the different things mean here. The first part describes the structure and the next several days of intensity forecasting. So we start off here with the satellite appearance of Karen remains less than impressive, as the center has been partially exposed to the west side of the remaining deep convection. The ship's model continues to analyze about 20 knots of southwesterly shear over Karen, and dry air is present in the mid to upper levels over the western semicircle. Despite these negative factors, Karen continues to maintain its intensity. The NOAA hurricane hunters just measured a central pressure of 999 millibars, that's important, and flight level and SFMR, that's a stepped frequency microwave radiometer device that they've got on the plane. We all have those on our vehicles and planes, right? Special. Mike, what would you call that? That's like it measures the waves or something.
It's a microwave imager that measures those wave speed and kind of infers wind speed from.
Gotcha. Microwave imager. Anyway, I digress. So they're measuring winds from two different sources, from both the NOAA and the Air Force Reserve aircraft. Support the intensity staying at 55 knots, which is 65 miles per hour. Moderate shear is expected to continue, and only gradual strengthening is expected before the shear increases further in about 48 hours. Some weakening is then anticipated as Karen approaches the Gulf Coast. But, and this is important right here, the storm could still be near hurricane strength at landfall. And remember, these systems, you have to take them seriously. You don't say, well, it's just a minimal hurricane, or it's only going to be a tropical storm. You just never know what can happen in and around your house. Be ready for the possibility of trees coming down, power being out. Maybe there's a lot of rainfall that inundates your neighborhood with a lot of localized flooding. Certainly it's good news that they're not anticipating a severe hurricane, but this is a tropical cyclone, and it has these different hazards that you need to be aware of. And that's pointed out pretty well here in this first paragraph as they talk about the intensity over the next several days. Now, as far as track, the initial motion estimate is a more confident 330 degrees. That's a compass bearing, so roughly north-northwest at about 10 knots or 12 miles per hour. Based on aircraft fixes and satellite imagery, the track forecast reasoning remains unchanged, as Karen will move around the periphery of the subtropical ridge, etc., and so forth. They talk about how the ridge builds briefly to the northeast of the cyclone, which means that Karen could slow down, and they mentioned that it could decrease the forward speed right there. Then a northeastward acceleration is expected after 48 hours, and this should put the system, as they talk about here, over the southeast United States. So let's go back to their track map, and we can look at this and kind of understand what they're talking about. The Hurricane Center Advisory. I didn't catch who wrote that at 5.
Brennan.
Mr. Mike.
I think it was Brennan.
All right, so I think it was forecaster Brennan. So that gives you an in-depth look at the mind of the forecaster, what the forecaster is thinking. So here's that track where it kind of bends off, slows down just a little bit, and then starts to accelerate into the deep part of the southeast United States over time. So folks here along the central Gulf Coast need to be ready for possible tropical storm conditions. I think that's almost a given. So strong winds, heavy rains, rough seas, a storm surge along the typical vulnerable coastline areas, and the possibility of severe weather in some of the rain bands. Tornadoes can be spun up pretty quickly. Looking at the structure of it, remember in the discussion, the forecaster alluding to the fact that there was shear and dry air involved. If we look at the satellite animation, there is this ball of convection right here, and the upper level winds cutting across in this direction, blowing the tops away. So you don't see it round with these spiral arms coming out of it like a well-developed hurricane would look like. Instead, it's sheared. There's definitely some dry air over in this region, but it has time to fend that off and develop some before making landfall somewhere up in here with very warm water temperatures in its path. So still a couple of days, 48 to 60, maybe 72 hours left before a landfall. So anybody from southeast Louisiana over to the Big Bend of Florida need to be taking this seriously. No, it's not a major hurricane with national importance attached to it or anything like that. I'm not going to overstate what's going on, but being aware and understanding the different hazards that can affect you, I think will help you to prepare and at least be mentally ready for what might be coming your way. I mean, heck, 5-10 inches of rain in your backyard might cut off your street. You might not be able to get out. Who knows? My iPhone beeping quite a lot, as you could imagine. So just keep those things in mind. One more tip. Mike, is the weather.gov running, or did they shut? That's probably operational.
Yeah,
I guess. Let me just check real quick as I record this. So you can go to weather.gov, put in your zip code right up here in this area, and when you get to the return of that, you will notice that there are forecasts and hazards mentioned. Read those, and that'll help you to understand what to expect as Karen heads your way. All right, well, that's a look at what's going on with Karen this evening. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. Don't forget, we will be streaming live on the HurricaneTrack.com homepage tomorrow, starting in the early to mid-morning throughout the rest of the event. Hopefully you can tune in and see what's going on from our vehicle. I'm here in Lake City, Florida with Mike Watkins helping me out. Always a privilege to produce these videos for you on Hurricane Pro and HD. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to do so. Have a good rest of your evening. We'll have more posts for you tomorrow.